Call the meeting in order. Stand for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Public comment? Are you here for public or?
Greg also come over last week on my property deal. Said something about a petition that I had to get filled out.
Okay, why don't we wait for Pat, our legal county counselor, to come here he can help you with that better than we can.
Okay.
So he should be here anytime. So we'll just proceed and we'll get to it very shortly.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, everybody have a chance to look at the minutes from the meeting from last week? Any additions or corrections?
I move to approve it.
I second it, Mr. Chairman.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of the meeting. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Pass 3-0. Pardon me. Any committee reports?
I don't have any.
Like I said last week, I got juvenile correction tomorrow here in Atchison. But other than that,
I have a meeting in Troy for Northeast Kansas Environmental Services Thursday. Yeah, Thursday morning.
and then Friday morning we have our
The leadership breakfast.
leadership breakfast, and then the gubernatorial race, I guess, campaign talks or what?
Debate.
Debate, yeah.
It's billed as a debate for Friday.
We have our table full.
For
the
I believe
breakfast.
so. I think Michelle has got that. Okay, new business before the board. That is.
Do we want to have it in minutes that we're going to start doing reviews? We're going to shoot for that next week to start that process, or?
We were going to just need to.
I think we're still in discussion.
Yeah, we're still discuss that. Okay. I think that I was going to. We were going to have Michelle and Jamie come in and talk to us about doing
Budget
and employee reviews
and
next week, work session.
Would that in a minute? Would that?
Yeah. Sir, why don't you go ahead and come on out?
I think Pat was supposed to draw something up.
Yeah. Go ahead and have a seat. State your name, please.
Mike Elliott.
There's Pat's coming in.
it's starting to warm up, Mike.
Huh?
It's starting to warm up a little bit. Is that because of you or?
Trying. Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Enough cold for a while.
Yeah, I bet it is.
This is a gentleman that Greg Oswald was talking about last week, his property, and I think he was going to check into it, or he was going to do some.
On the out at Arrington?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I did do some checking on it. Talked with Roger downstairs, and the plat of that property is you're on the edge of it, and generally when a road is vacated, one half of the road goes to the landowner on each side. And in your situation, that would appear that one half of that land would go to the owner on the south, but only one half of that roadway is platted. If that makes sense.
It's quite an ordeal.
Meaning that you would likely lose land if that were vacated.
Okay.
Land that you consider to be yours,
Mhm.
that has a platted road, but there's not a road built there. And when I talked to Roger, he needed some more time to do some research on the exact platting, because these plats are not like current plats. They're not typed. They're handwritten in script. The copy that he had of the scan wasn't the best quality, but honestly, that would be looked like it would be a little bit of work to get that part figured out.
Okay.
Also, well, as far as the background goes, that's about all of the background info that I have now.
Okay.
It's going to take some time. I mean, I think it's probably going to take him an afternoon, 3 or 4 hours of work to do that.
My thinking was, as long as he would get the neighbor to sign some kind of paper that you were going to draw up, that was it. But there's more to it than that.
Oh yeah. Well, there has to be a petition filed, and then a publication notice has to be given. That notice has to be, I think it's 30 days. Has to be published one time, 30 days prior to the hearing, and then at the hearing.
Is this timeline going to mess you up? If you're talking 60 days out, like sounds like to me 45 to 60 days.
Right. What got this started, we bought a modular home. We're going to move it in. That was the place where we were going to put it. It's going to stick out onto, I guess, county property, maybe 10 feet or something like that. Which the bank is how this all got started. So he's trying to get this.
And I also understood that there hadn't been an application for a sanitary system for the property yet either.
Right. We're going to use our existing one and get rid of our current house.
Yeah, I think there was some issue about whether or not that was permitted.
Okay.
But I'm not the expert on that.
Well, you get a hold of Dennis Foster or that other guy.
Well, it would be with any KES, but the indication I think that we had gotten was that whoever had talked with them had said they were going to use the system for both.
Isn't that a
the
lagoon
existing-
system?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking.
Yeah, my wife, she was thinking for my son or something to live there, but we decided we're going to get rid of the old one.
Yeah, I don't know whether that's acceptable.
He'd have to go
or not.
down.
I
And what's that fee? $35, $40, and then they'll come out and test your soul to acceptable. You got to pay
Well,
something for 25. You got to pay some kind of fee to get.
Yeah, but I think in this case, if there's
Sound
it'll
like-
be a study to see if they are getting rid of the other facility, to make sure that this lagoon will be big enough to handle the house, or you're bringing more people in, or
Actually, be one less.
yeah.
So I took it as you're doing away with the lagoon, going to go to a septic system.
We talked about it, but just decided money reasons, we'll just leave what we got.
If it's in good standing, and it's possible that they will allow that, but I think that's got to be looked at.
Okay.
Do you need their contact information?
Probably.
Well, I think I got an email with it. Let me make sure I have it.
Well, they're still going to have to go down there to the office and cut the money up for it. And look at it.
I really don't know how they do those permits.
I think they can be contacted directly or through the county either way. I have a meeting in Troy with them Thursday morning, so what's the address there?
It's 1230 Forest Avenue, Holton, Kansas.
Just so they're aware that somebody might be contacting them. And
Are you Michael?
Yes.
Sheehan? Okay. You sent me an email yesterday.
My wife did. So that's the whole reason I come over today, because I hadn't heard nothing.
Should he go talk to Roger while he's here in town?
Roger's not in. I thought he was, but he's not.
this petition thing, what's the deal there? I mean, have to get a bunch of people to sign it, or?
No, there's a state statute on how a dedicated road or street is abandoned,
Okay.
and that procedure has to be followed.
Okay.
So,
But the word petition, I think, is where
Right. Yeah,
you're getting hung up, and I think a petition's just basically we're being asked to vacate the property.
right.
Why does it show in the plot that his neighbor has half the road, but he doesn't? So if
Well,
It was never platted.
so how's
it
he,
was- no,
if he
it was
wants to go out
platted.
10 foot in the road, then how's he gonna get around that?
It was platted, and what I was surprised, I don't have a copy of the plat. I could maybe get one at the registered deeds office or would show him. But what's platted is just the north half of that road. The south half is not in the subdivision.
Yeah, dead ends on my property. I mean, in this map anyway.
Well, let me show you this, but maybe not exactly what you're looking at. Yeah, okay. This part down here is not in this, is not platted in the subdivision.
Okay.
Down here. And so what would be vacated is just the part that's north of that. But
Right.
if that's vacated, the north half of that goes to you.
Okay.
The south half of that goes to the southern landowner.
Okay. Now,
And
I've been talking to Kenny, and he's talking about selling me this place right now, but
that
we haven't went through with it yet. But he wants to split it from this line right here back to me and let me have that piece, and he wants to keep this little chunk.
well, when the surveyor does that, they would certainly address the issue about the platted road.
Would that be the easiest way to go?
Well, if you're going to split that lot, you'll have to go through that
You have a
process.
phone ring. That'd be the easiest way. It's gonna cost you a lot of money, but the simplest way. That would
If
be
you own both sides, it's not a big deal to get that shut down.
If
I
you're
think-
on both sides, that issue wouldn't be.
We still got to go through this petition and all this
Yes.
stuff. Okay.
Even though he bought this ground, he wouldn't.
Yeah, because the road's
Yes.
still there.
There's a road there.
Yeah, but he'd own ground on both sides, and if he wants to do it, he'd be able to do it. Who would petition against him? Because you just got to do adjacent landowners.
I don't know that anybody would. Well, no, you have to get publication notice. I agree on this. In this particular set, I doubt that anybody would. I don't know whether there are any utilities there. I don't know if there's a water line through there. I don't know.
That red line right there is water. It runs up it.
I don't know if there are any other utilities that are there. If there's a natural gas line, if there's anything else. Well,
Okay.
I'm not. I don't disbelieve you. I just don't know that. And
I've seen it dug up, is how I know.
Well, what's the simplest way to resolve this problem?
there are definitely people who have built over platted roads in our county.
Yeah, but knowing that, I wouldn't do it.
I wouldn't do it either, but we have a grain elevator that's built on one.
You're right.
Did you say
It's a
something
little
about the
section.
bank being involved, or was it the bank?
Yeah, they were the ones that were questioning this, is why got it all started.
It certainly
Oh,
would
the
be.
bank. I thought it said banks.
I don't know that it would make much difference whether the lots are split or not. It would solve the issue about whether or not he gets part of that road or not, the vacated road. But the procedure is still going to be the same. What it would do for us is when you have the survey done, because you'll have to do a survey if you're going to split up
This piece
that
here.
parcel. Yeah. He would research and take care of whether there's a road dedication on the north end.
Okay.
So
Correct me if I'm wrong, Pat, but I think the county commissioners okayed to close another road as well as the township. But now what the bank wants, I don't know if we can help you out there. Because they're going to want to.
I understand that you've indicated that that's how you'd likely vote and all that. I don't have any dispute with that at all, but the process is initiated by the landowner filing, or somebody filing a petition, and then that petition notice of that petition has to be given, which includes publication. And
All the motions have to be gone through, regardless if
Okay,
it's anybody.
do you have a petition form that he could start, or is it
I have the forms, sure. But the legal description of the road was what I think was going to take some time, because it's, as I said, it's buried in the plat, and it was a handwritten plat, and the copy he had wasn't all that good.
So does Roger need some time, or does he need to set up time to talk with Roger?
Well, Roger told me he would do it, but he wasn't going to be able to do it and drop everything and do it right then. I didn't ask him about a timeline for it. So, but if you want, we can go down to the Register of Deeds office. Well, now, unless you want me to stay here, and I can show you what we're talking about.
Okay.
So go ahead. He got his hat and coat down. I guess he will. He'll remember when he goes outside. Let us warmed up.
It's 55 degrees.
Oh, here's his hat and coat.
Do you guys have anything else to do, or should we, as far as new business or anything, or should we wait for Pat to get back? Do we want to recess?
I don't have any new business, or I can't think of anything.
Do we want to just go through the agenda and Pat be the end with some more agenda items?
We really don't have anything else here. Do you have something?
I don't think we have much.
You have
Seth's gonna be here, but then
the agenda, the agreement, the paper underneath to Pat needs to be here to Seth had left paper for the utility agreement. It's basically a more in-depth agreement than what we signed last week with the CenturyLink on that roadway. On the utilities for the
page, isn't it?
This is for the fiber work?
no.
It's on that very next page.
Attached is the permit application and work fronts to relocate CenturyLink facilities on Jewel Road for your bridge replacement projects 3C 48701. Please let me know if or when all the right-of-way acquisition is complete and has been staked in the field so we can begin work. This project will take approximately 3 weeks to complete due to scheduling, which is a hot cut for the fiber. There are FAA and 911 circuits working in the existing fiber cable. So that Pat didn't indicate whether that is ready to be signed or not.
I would suggest we wait for him to get okay before we sign off. Or we then sign off on it. But I guess we gotta sign again. We do.
I recommend we take a 15-minute recess, and when Pat's back, we resume and finish the meeting.
I'll second that, Mr. Chairman.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Pass 3-0. Good luck with that.
Thank you.
Okay, I think I already said new business before the board. I don't know if Pat had anything on that. So
There was a letter, I think, that you all received by email from a law firm soliciting whether you were interested in joining as plaintiffs in some litigation concerning opioids. pharmaceutical manufacturers. I don't know whether we have any damages that we can identify as being from the overprescription of medication. I also don't know enough about the topic to really speak very intelligently about it. I did post a question on the county councilor's listserv. Several cities and counties have been notified. The city of Atchison received a similar letter to what we did. I'm not sure if it was the same law firm or a different one, but I don't know if you're interested in looking into that, or
I can recall shortly after I got elected to be a commissioner, I had a meeting at the hospital, and they had various people there, and the number one problem to put down was overdose of drugs. And I thought, well, that'd be easy to solve. So I think we do have a problem, and I would suggest talking to maybe someone at the hospital or the city.
well, but the county itself would be the plaintiff, and I don't know what our. I'm not saying we don't have damages. I just don't know what they are.
So if we had a person that we could identify with overdose of opioids, and they had harmed county property and or caused cost of litigation and police action, how else would you be damaged? I mean,
that seems. I think you're on the right track, and I think there may be some difficulty showing that nexus between the prescription and the action.
I'm not aware of any pharmacy in our county prescribing or letting opioids go, or a doctor. That has been the resident, but
I don't know I didn't want to just ignore it. I don't know if you want me to research it, or if you want to invite somebody to come give a presentation to you. Or, there are several counties in the southwest part of the state. There's, I think, a law firm in Wichita that is signing up counties or municipalities.
we could always learn.
I think that putting it out on listserv and seeing what other counties, and maybe just kind of get a feel for how or what's being submitted, by other counties, and seeing, then maybe we would have an idea of where this is going. I'm not exactly sure what all they would consider as damages. I mean, are you talking about at the county, the health level? Are we talking about at the sheriff and damages to the county, or anything occurred as an expense by the county? I mean, there's different levels that I could see this going.
I took it as if they wanted us to sign up with them. And not that we have a damage, but just to acknowledge that there is a problem and by some law they should be corrected. I may be totally off the base, but that's how I took it.
They're doing a class action lawsuit. It's going to be to get money.
It's to sue a manufacturer to say they did something wrong and harmed us. It isn't just simply we think drugs are bad. So I need some direction if you want me to do anything further.
If someone's interested in presenting to us, I'm interested in this.
Okay.
But I wouldn't pursue it other than someone interested in presenting to us. That way we can answer those questions here.
Well, I think I could even just respond to the people that sent the letter to us to see if they're either have more documentary information or if they want to give a presentation.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
That would be at no cost.
Yeah, no, we wouldn't.
Do you have any other new business?
I sent an email to Roger Edgar of George K. Baum, and that was actually who called, so he left a message for me, but I haven't heard it yet. I did verify from the notes that I have that there's 90 days is all that's needed time-wise about bonding, and that gives time for you to adopt a resolution and a protest period to pass. We wouldn't want to borrow the money. You wouldn't want to borrow the money, presumably, until you're ready to spend it. And I looked on the agreement that you signed with Cook, Flat, and Strobel last week, and it didn't have a timeline on it. And Seth wasn't here today, so I didn't. This was just over the noon hour. I looked at that. It didn't have a timeline on when they would be ready to put the contracts out for bid, so when they'd be ready to start building. So I'm going to send an email to Seth later and then find out from Cook, Flat, and Strobel what a reasonable timeline is, and then we might be letting those. Right. You don't want to do it too late, obviously, but I think you don't want to do it too early either, because you're paying interest on the whole amount. You can't, and this was a question that I had asked Roger earlier. You can do 5 bonding projects for $200,000 each, but it's much cheaper to do 1 bonding project for $2 million instead of several small ones. And he's not aware of bonding that works where it's like essentially a line of credit or something. You take the money when you need it.
So Pat, let's say we start the bonding process in 2 weeks. Do we have to know the amount in 2 weeks? Or?
I think we have to know the amount that we're going to borrow.
So we need to get the case of the exactas on these bridges, or at least the estimates or the.
Right. Yeah. Yes, we do.
That's the reason I think we suggested to Seth that we go with our estimates and then maybe have some smaller projects that if these bridges came under what our expectation is, that maybe there's $100,000 left on the table that we could use for maybe bridge decks or guardrails or something that to shore up some of the other projects. That way we still utilize that full bond and get some of this other.
We're not going to get it done unless we get moving here.
Right.
I was kind of surprised when Seth said he didn't think we'd get anything started this year.
He needs a better sense of urgency.
I thought we'd at least get some of the smaller bridges in. My goodness.
Well,
I know everything takes time, but
did you think he meant on all 6 or just on those 3? I thought when he said that he was talking about the 3 that's going to from Cook, Flat, and Strobel, which is going to big projects. I think it'd be possible to get the Husker Steel bridges going because
they got everything in house, engineers and everything.
And they're so much smaller. I mean, there's just nimble. You don't have the huge project that you got the other one. So maybe that's just the way it was. Maybe I took it wrong, but that's the way I read it when he said that. When he said none, I think he was talking about the 3 big ones. I just can't believe
that we can't start the process and then put the final amount 3 weeks from now.
If you knew the final amount 3 weeks, we could start the process, right?
But I don't know if we'll have the cost back from the engineer.
Well, all of that.
But then after that, we got to wait on this, and we got to wait on that, we got to wait on this.
Well, the question might be if you could do 3 this year, you could do 3 next year. Maybe you do want to do 2 bonds.
Well, we could do the 3 smaller bridges, and if they could get going on them, I would be willing to do that, even if it did cost some more.
I think we need to get George in here. Okay. Get ready to go. Let's have Seth give us the amounts first.
And also, you said something about getting with Cook, Flat, and Strobel and just talk to them and say, what's the reasonable timeline?
Right. I didn't want to contact them without talking to Seth, and I thought he has a point of contact there. It should probably go through that channel. And I don't know how long it will take before they'll have plans that will be ready to go out for bidders. That process of, even if they had the plans done, I think they probably wouldn't have their bidding for 30 or 45 days because all the companies would need the time to review the plans and to go out and look at the site to see if there are special things they need to bid for.
We would also have to do that same thing with Husker Steel, because we're assuming that they could get on it quicker, but we would have to see what their timeline is too.
So, Pat, you're going to talk to Seth?
Yes, I started an email to him. I didn't finish it today.
It would be good, I don't know how productive, if we could have the bond guy here and Cook Flat Patrol representative here at the same time. So we could discuss timeline, and we could just tell them that, we want to get this project started.
Okay. Any old or unfinished business?
There was the CenturyLink thing that Seth had. I looked at it. I think it's okay. I mean, it does say that they're going to move their line to within 5 feet of the proposed right of way, and that they're going to hold us harmless for danger that they cause, and they'll move it if we determine later that it needs to be moved at their cost. So I think it's acceptable. So, Roger Denton, we don't have a formal policy on how to get permission to work in our right of way, and they've kind of been on a case by case basis, and we've talked a little bit about formalizing that, but in the meantime, this looks to be a reasonable attempt at how to address the situation.
Okay, do I hear a motion to accept CenturyLink's proposal to relocate telephone line on county property?
And add the chairman sign, it's just a one signature.
It has two. It says chairman, chairperson, and member. So there's.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to sign off on this. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Pass 3-0. Yes, Vice Chair.
We're not missing a page for a third member, are we?
Do you want this, or should I put it in the blue folder?
You can put that in.
If it's good that you guys take credit, it's bad.
Yeah, I didn't sign that.
No,
Okay, any other old business?
you got a county
County
sheriff that falls
Okay.
out.
Just the same thing.
Okay,
I move to adjourn.
it's been moved.
Okay, I'll second that. We'll adjourn at 1:50.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Pass 3-0. We are adjourned. See you Friday morning.
Yep.
Oh, and Jack, you are giving the welcome.
I'll let you go Friday morning.
I did have him put your name on that, so and I wanted to remind you.
I guess I will.
Okay.